Library Administrator here at the Auburn Avenue Research Library. A little backstory before I introduce Eric to the stage. Got approached about the hip hop 50th anniversary and a group out in New York at Queens Public Library that were doing a program in celebration, and they were engaging everyone around the country. So I was on board from go. And started meeting with a couple of people and realized that there were so many different groups within Atlanta that were doing different things around the 50th anniversary. And so we started meeting regularly on a weekly basis and adding people as we went along. And now we probably have around 15 to 20 different people on that call every Thursday at 12 o'clock to discuss what we want to do, how we can support one another in the celebration of hip hop. And so that's how I came across Eric and Scratch Out Loud, DJ Experience. And so it's been, truly a pleasure working with Scratch Out Loud and the other groups that are on our call on a weekly basis. So I want you to know that when you go to different events around the city, that might be a result of some of the conversations that we've had on our call, from Elevate Atlanta to Soul Food Cypher, which is coming up soon. We're also working on doing a Cypher Live here, a couple of Cypher Lives here with Soul Food Cypher. So we hope to see some of you guys come out. Melissa Alexander's exhibition, Around the Way Dream Redo, is upstairs in our second floor gallery space. If you haven't seen it, please go upstairs, take a look at it. It is amazing. So without further ado, I will introduce you to Eric Hall with Scratch Out Loud and Princess Cut from Scratch Out Loud. You can give them a round of applause.
Oh, yeah. Thank everyone for coming out today. My name is Eric. This is my business partner, DJ Princess Cut. We are the owners of Scratch Out Loud. We are Atlanta's only all-vinyl DJ experience. I'd definitely like to thank Victor for having us out today. As you mentioned, we're on the panel for Hip Hop 50. They asked us to host this movie screening for Scratch, and we're Scratch Out Loud, so kind of like worked hand in hand. But I want to introduce my business partner, Princess Cut, and the panelists tonight, DJ Rossarius and Mr. Collipark himself.
Yes, thank you all so much for coming out. I'm DJ Princess Cut, and we're just excited for this night. You'll meet DJ Rossarius and a good friend of mine, Mr. Collipark, as well. So hope you all enjoy.
Yeah, so give them a hand. You guys can come out. Just to start off, this was my first time seeing this movie, full disclosure. But it was super dope.
Sorry. I saw it when I started, a little bit after I started DJing, so it was cool to get a refresh on it, but definitely some jewels.
Wonderful. But just to make introductions to the panelists, ATL native, College Park's own legend, Michael Crooms, aka DJ Mr. Collipark, aka DJ Smurf. And then seated next to us is the wonderful DJ Rossarius, New Jersey born, Georgia bred? Georgia born, Georgia bred. There's mics. You guys have mics.
I got my DJ chops in Atlanta, but I was born and raised in New Jersey, though.
Okay, wonderful.
Yes.
So my first question tonight is, what got you started into DJing, and then what was the first time you were just like, ooh, I want to do that?
So this is the first time me seeing this movie, but I know a lot of the people in this movie because I used to watch their YouTube videos. So DJ Shorty, I used to watch her a lot because she was a woman, and I was like, I want to do that. Mixmaster Mike, the DJ for the Beastie Boys, he was a one that, and I would just spend hours just watching them just go back and forth. Turntablism is the reason why I wanted to get into DJing. So it was actually a lot of what we saw in this movie here. And hailing from Jersey, I am a golden era hip hop chick all day, you know, so just the music itself I just wanted to start it to spin that, so yeah.
So my story is a little like the guy who said he went downstairs to the club with his girlfriend and he heard the beat bumping, and when he got down in there, he gave his girl the 2 drinks and said, "Here, you take that. I'm going in here." That's kind of what happened to me. I was at a house party when I was in high school. High school back in the day started at the 8th grade.
What high school?
It was Fairwood, which later became Banneker High School. So I attended Fairwood before Banneker. So there was a song that had just come out back then by the 2 Live crew called "Throw the D." And that was the song that was playing.
Right.
And the scratches in that record by DJ Mr. Mix, Dave Hobbs, is what I heard coming from the heavens above, which made me that, along with the song Jam Master Jay at Skate Town on Old National Highway. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 things that I remember that called me to this.
To the stage, wonderful. You mentioned a DJ that you looked up to. What were the DJs that you looked up to back in those days? Like,
So my journey is a little different because I wanted to start DJing at 18. Most people, you know, they make that decision in their very young life. I was in my mid-30s when I started to DJ. So it was, yeah, a lot of my family thought I was going through a midlife crisis. So growing up, I think it was the God, DJ Jazzy Jeff, all hail, you know, him. It was Mixmaster Mike from the Beastie Boys, Rock Raider from the Executioners, and Grandmaster Flash, you know. So all of the legacy DJs, because I listened to a lot of hip hop, you know, growing up. Jam Master Jay, of course, yes. Those were my go-to influences there.
wonderful. Mr. Collipark.
So for me, it's funny watching, although hip hop began up top, when I saw those DJs in that little bedroom, or you know, I had several instances where all these DJs were crammed into this little space. You know what I mean? And to know that that happened in so many bedrooms, in so many homes, it didn't hit me like that till I just saw this film, because I had never seen this film before. I remember I started as a youngster with older guys that were DJing that went to high school with me. And so I was just like the little kid that, can I get on, can I get on, can I get on? But for me, we couldn't really touch the essence of hip hop in the South because it was still up top when it first started. So we were just kind of imitating what we heard on records. And so the first DJs that I looked up to were just DJs that I heard on wax. But in particular, I was born in Orlando, Florida. So a lot of people don't know that, but DJ Magic Mike is from Orlando, Florida as well. And he used to DJ at the skating rink that was close to where I would be. And so DJ Magic Mike, and also MC Shy D, who I came to DJ for later on in life, his DJ was named DJ Man. And he DJ'd with a DJ crew that I came to join called the J Team, King Edward J, that was on the east side. And so it was DJs. Edward J came from Florida. He was born in Florida as well. Opened up a record shop on the east side called King Edward J Tapes. And he had a DJ crew, DJ Man, DJ Lynn, himself. So these were DJs that I could touch. And DJ Man was actually on wax at the time. And so those were the DJs, if I had to go back, DJ Magic Mike, just because he was from where I was born, DJ Man, because he was on wax and from here, and DJ Lynn, who was also a part of the J Team, and DJ Mr. Mix, who was on that Throw the D record. So those are early influences for me.
What time frame did you? What time frame was this? Like
For me,
yeah.
80s. This was the
And
80s.
that's so, I thought Magic Mike was from Atlanta.
No, Magic Mike's. No.
Oh, that's so funny.
It's crazy because, and I'm probably jumping ahead.
No, go ahead.
There's always been like a connection between Florida and Georgia musically, as far as the DJs who started producing and going to Miami and producing for those Miami groups. Toomp was one of them. Mike Fresh was one of them. Went down and did all that Poison Clan stuff. Devastator, who was from Atlanta, went on and did Shake What Your Mama Gave You and I Wanna Rock for Luke from Atlanta. You know, so there was always like a connection from between these two parts of the country.
Just looking at the movie, they had a lot of tricks and techniques. What was the first technique or trick that made you say, ooh, like, ah? What was the first technique where you were just like, oh, I gotta master this? Was there any DJing technique that made you?
I think for me, definitely scratching and beat juggling. When so I was at my corporate job, you know, sneaking and watching these videos, and I was just so amazed and so enamored by these tricks, and I was just like, wow, they are actually taking this turntable and making it into an actual instrument. So I was a band geek in high school. You know, I played the flute and the piano, and so just kind of having like a musical background in the first place, and I was like, so wait a minute, so you can DJ, but you can also create music from this turntable. I said, that's what I want to do, you know, so it was scratching and beat juggling for me.
I was joking in the back. Beat juggling actually let me know I didn't want to go that far with it. So when I started, it was the scratching. The scratching, you know, and I think there's a connection between people who were in the band, more particular drummers, people who played the drums in the band. They tend to be better DJs because they hear and their coordination is a little better.
Different air.
Right. Yeah. Those of us who played the trumpet and the flute and all that, it's like we had a ceiling, but those who played the drums, you know, they could do a little bit more. But scratching for me, I went hard to try to master the art of scratching up until the point that I progressed into production.
So like for your tricks, you say scratching was you're like, okay, I'm good.
So being from the South, right, we had a couple of DJs here at the time that I was DJing that really did tricks or whatever. So I thought that I knew what I was doing until I did this DJ battle with DJ Scientist, who was from South Carolina. At the time, I was like in the 12th grade, and I was really hot in the streets in Atlanta because I was the big mixtape guy here. So I went up and did this DJ battle at Clemson. That's where he DJ'd at. And it's like they would bring these DJs in to battle this guy in his Lion's Den. But it would be like a joke because we wouldn't know how good he was. So they bring us hothead DJs up there that thought we were doing something, and we go first. And I think JC fell for this too. I think he got JC as well. So when I went up, I was DJ Smurf from Atlanta, this hot DJ from Atlanta, and I did my little tricks or whatever. And he went, and it was like a Rocky movie when he killed Apollo Creed. A part of me died that night as far as my aspirations. I said, I'll just be a party mixtape DJ. I won't do that part of it.
I actually competed in the DMCs here in Atlanta back in 2014. Yeah, I was feeling real fly.
That's dope though for you to start so late and then to go there with it.
I only made it to the second round because, you know, JC was in that competition and pretty much demolished everybody and just kind of wiped the, you know, floor with everyone. But I was glad that I did it because I had been spending so much time practicing, and I was just like, that's what I want to do. And I did also this competition out in California. It was sponsored by Paul Mitchell, you know, too. So but yeah, that I understand.
That's so dope that you started late, but then took it to that level of it, because that takes a lot of time and dedication.
It was well, before I even started DJing publicly, I think some said in the movie that they took a year. I took a whole entire year. I took a whole entire year before I stepped out there, and I deliberately, so I didn't start DJing until 2009. And around that time, people were giving up their turntables and crossing over into the controllers in the digital world. And so I was able to get my turntables for $400, 2 techniques, because people were getting rid of them. And I was like, I had been collecting vinyl beforehand. And I said, I'm going to learn like the legacy people, because you're not going to be able to tell me anything that I cannot mix and scratch and do all those tricks on the original stuff, you know, and then I over to the digital stuff.
Yeah, that's a wonderful segue. My next question, this movie was in 2001, so it's almost literally like 20-something years old. Technology has changed for DJs. Digital versus vinyl, and Serato is in there as well. Tell me your thoughts and stance on original OG turntables, digital controllers. Where do you stand?
I'm a fan of vinyl. I do dig. I still buy vinyl. I still spin vinyl parties. There's a party called All Vinyl. When it comes up, I still do it. It was great. I'm glad I made the choice, me personally, to spin on vinyl, but it is not practical to do vinyl now, you know, especially turntables are very heavy. Those things are 50 pounds each, like those Technique turntables. I think it's just based on personal preference. I wanted to be a turntablist, so it made sense for me to learn on vinyl. But, you know, nowadays, if you just want to mix and rock out a party, I don't mind the digital stuff. It's made my career a whole lot easier, you know, so, and I was not a part of that era that carried the records. I did not do that. No. You know, I did. Yeah, see, hats off to you, sir. Yeah.
So I think it went through a phase to where people were trying to keep it real. When the controllers first came, the CDJs, even before the controllers, the CDJs, were the first CD turntables CDJs, or was it? I don't know. But it went through a phase to where the true turntablist would never touch a CDJ or would never touch a controller. And it's funny because the music world went through that as well when they were going from analog to digital. You had those purists that would never not mix on a SSL board and 2-inch tape and all that. So everything went through that phase to where you had those purists trying to keep it real, but then the workflow of the digital is just so much faster and so much more convenient that now, you know, however many years later, like she said, it's just not practical. So it's like, it's to each individual how you know, what you're using it for and what your workload is dictates, you know, what you use. But I controller all day for me right now.
Okay, yeah. And I was compared to like a chef. They're like very anti-microwave, but the microwave comes in handy, you know what I mean? Not all the times, but it's there for a reason. Next question, DJ and DJ crews. Are there any DJ crews or DJs that you admire and that you would like to work with? We saw a lot of DJ crews that were in the film, that they had a lot of influence in hip hop, you know, that brings it forward to today.
You know, there's not a lot of those crews have kind of disbanded and kind of gone off and do their own thing. I would love to work with Jazzy. Jazzy Jeff is like my number one. I'm a fangirl for him all day. That I would like to work with. Maybe Rob Swift is another one. He was part of the Executioners. But that's off the top of my head, yeah, that's Z-Trip. Z-Trip is dope, too. So, but yeah, the cruise. That's kind of like that was sort of like a late '90. Am I correct? Like late '90, 2000 thing, And then here in Atlanta, you had the affiliates. You had
Work Cruise. Work Crew?
Oh, well, Work Crew. Yeah, Work Crew. That's that's probably the only crew right now that's together. Yeah.
So for me, I started as a fan. So now I don't necessarily want to work with DJs. When I meet DJs who I looked up to, that's all I need. Like when I met Hobbs from 2 Live Crew for the first time, it was like, yo, I grew up to you. You know what I mean? I learned so much just from listening to you. This was before we had YouTube and all this. So when I met these guys along my journey, once I got into the music industry, I didn't necessarily want to work with them, but it was just an honor to meet them. So that's just where I am with it right now.
Yeah, no, that's dope. That's dope. All right, a little personal question. What would you tell your 18 to 21-year-old self as a DJ? If you can go back in time, what would you tell young Collipark or young Ra about the DJ life?
I would tell young Ra to buy the damn equipment because I wanted to start when I was 18, and then I saw the price of the turntables, and I was like, I don't want to, that's too much. That's too much money. I don't want to buy it. And I felt like I probably would have been a lot further, and I'm not complaining where I'm at, but I feel like I would have been a lot further had I started younger, so that's what I would tell young Ra, is to just bite the bullet and make the investment if that's what you really, really want to do.
I have no regrets.
Oh.
When I was 18, I graduated from high school and didn't know what I wanted to do, so I went to college. However, while I was in college, my opportunity to come and do music full time presented itself. And thank God I had supportive parents who supported me leaving college to go on the road with MC Shy D and be his tour DJ. And I never looked back from that. So 18-year-old Smurf was doing,
Okay.
he was right on schedule.
Yeah, so just a segue on that, can you tell us the difference between a tour DJ and just like a club DJ? Do you have any differences between the two?
Oh yeah, it's two different things. I worked for MC Shy D as a club DJ. I worked for the club, so you rocking the party versus being the soundtrack for an MC. So we actually put shows together. Like our show was put together from top to bottom. We practiced and we did all that. Rocking the club is reading a crowd. So that's the difference. You don't have you don't put together your set, before you go to a club. You might have an idea of things you want to try out and stuff like that, but based on what the crowd is doing, that's how you dictate your set for that evening.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been a tour DJ for an artist. I just toured with Royal Caribbean, so. But I have DJ'd for artists, before. And yeah, your sets are shorter. Versus a club, your sets are way longer, and you're interacting with the crowd. As a tour DJ, you're the support person for the artist.
I gotta say, when I first started DJing for Shy D, I was still in high school. Well, I got out of high school like a semester early, so I was supposed to be in high school. So I was thrust from being a mixtape DJ who did very little parties and stuff like that to going on stage. I had 2 turntables and 2 drum machines on either side. He ran, because before me he had 2 DJs. So they would put the show together, going between the drum machines and the DJs. So while this beat was playing, I had to load into this drum machine. And then the samples that were on the records, we did live. So that ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba, I scratched that in live over the drum beat. So this is 18-year-old Smurf carrying that load on stage. So that was crazy. I had to put that out there.
That's one of my favorite scratches too. I love. Right. Am I just understanding that's you? Wow.
Well, no. That was not me.
Oh, okay.
It was supposed to be DJ Man, who was this DJ, but Man didn't. I found this out when I started working with Shadi. He didn't show up to the studio that day, so that's Shadi doing the scratches on that record.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay. But you did that live though.
Live, yeah, I did that live
during the show.
Yeah, yep,
Nice.
live.
Yeah.
What advice would you have to like young and upcoming DJs that are getting into the game right now?
Practice, practice. And most importantly, define your sound and define the type of DJ that you want to be. If you want to only spin a certain genre, stick to that. If you want to go the open format route so you can do more versatile parties and more corporate stuff and festivals, do that, but make a decision and stick there. So, but definitely make sure that you define your sound and stick with that and practice a lot.
I think for me, anybody that gets into any field dealing with music, I tell them do it because you love it. Because that's going to determine so much stuff hits you and you don't see it coming in this life. And if you don't love doing this music, you're going to quit. You're going to halfway do it. You're going to waste a lot of time. It's just so much that comes with this. If you don't love it, you're not going to be able to fight through it. So I discourage people who get into music for anything other than loving it. Yeah. If it's for the fame, if it's for the money, I don't encourage that. So do it because you love it. That's my advice.
And also be willing to change. As you get older, your needs and your wants are going to change and shift as well. So I agree. You have to have a passion, a deep passion for it, because life is going to life on you, and it's going to hit you in the face, and you got to decide, okay, do I still want to continue to do this or not? So yeah, start thinking like, as you get older, your tastes are going to change. You may not want to be in the club until 3 o'clock in the morning. So how are you going to pivot? What are you going to shift to? I'm a lifer in music. That's it. For me.
It's funny when you meet a DJ who loves it, you know it like in 5 minutes from meeting them, like whether they're doing good or not, and you see why they're still doing it. So when you say you're a lifer, I can just listen to you talk, and I can tell.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's dope. This is my last question here. What are your top 2 go-to records? What are your top 2 go-to records, and what are your most valuable? And so in our space, I have like 1 or 2 records that are totally off limits. These are don't touch. What are your 1 or 2 most valuable records, and then your go-to records for a club or a party? Prized possession. What are your most prized possession records?
So my prized possession piece of vinyl, and it's one of my favorite songs on the planet. No one will get it. Nobody has probably heard it, but it's called Funkanova by this band, 70s band called Wood Brass Steel. And I have 2 copies on vinyl. And no matter what day that I'm having, that is my favorite song to go to because it has so many movements in it, and it's just overall dope song. And then you said my go-to?
Yeah, what's your 1 or 2 go-to songs when you're okay, it's time to.
So I'm
in case of emergency.
In case of emergency, Set It Off.
You just stole mine.
Set It Off, Set It Off, because it crosses so many time periods, so it doesn't matter if you're millennial, zillennial, or Gen X, people are going to rock to that. I am a hip-hop girl, so anything by Triumph by Wu-Tang will set it off sometimes too, so but yeah, those are my go-to.
Okay, so where I be at, it's a little different. Scrub the Ground.
Good one.
Scrub the Ground is a go-to for me. My Don't Touch, actually, and I wound up having to play it, but I actually produced one of my Don't Touches, and it's The Wobble. And I think it's because I produced it. You know, and it's like everybody's waiting on it. Everybody just know you're going to play it. So it's like, a lot of times people have to tap me on the shoulder like, yo, you're not going to play that? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm going to play it. But that's one of my go-tos and Don't Touch at the same time. And another go-to, I'm going to add one more go-to, and it's a double-edged sword as well, is Before I Let Go. That's one.
Why is that a double edge?
Because I know everybody plays it. So that's a don't touch for me. If it's a song that I know everybody goes to it, everybody plays, I don't like to play it, but you have to wind up playing it. And it works every time you play it.
I feel the same. I'm just like, but you got, you know what I mean? But you know it's going to set the party up. You know it's going to set it off. You know it is. Yeah. Yeah.
That's wonderful. We're going to open the mic to Q&A. If you guys have any questions, feel free to come to the mic and ask some questions.
Anyone?
Yeah,
Anyone?
Come up.
Okay. So this is not really a question, but I want to know a little bit more insight. It's for Smurf. So I was watching Beehive Radio and Bone Crusher. So you probably already know what the question gonna be, but Bone Crusher. I personally didn't know he went to Banneker, and I didn't know he DJ'd.
Yeah.
But he said that you basically told him to stop DJing and be a rapper. Could you expound on that a little bit?
It's crazy because he came to my studio last year and told me that story, and I remembered it a little different. I just remember Bone had this dope Macho Man Randy Savage impersonation that he would do, and his voice was just always so dope to me that's what I just felt like he should use his voice. You know what I mean? And so I don't recall actually telling him, yo, you don't need to DJ. I recall him not being a very good DJ. Now I do recall that, but I don't recall just telling them. And I had probably a lot more ego back then than I have now. So I probably was like, yo, man, you need to get that up, man. So I'm not saying he's not telling the truth, but I just remembered it being different from the perspective that his voice was just always so dope to me. So that's how I remember it.
That's dope. Speaking of Banner High School, I want to bring up DJ Brazy. So DJ Brazy was one of our students. He started about a year and a half ago at our school, and literally he's been going on tour. He's at Banneker High School right now. He's an honor roll student and a DJ. Brazy, if you could come up for 2 seconds. Give it up for Brazy.
Yeah. Southside.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing tonight? Well, hold on.
So tell us how long you've been DJing.
Yeah, it's tonight. My bad. I'm a late night club DJ, so I'm always saying tonight. Just had to make sure. My name is DJ Brazy Beats. I DJ, produce, engineer. I'm 16. I go to Banneker High School. I'm from Collipark, East Point. Can you answer that question one more time?
No, you answered the question. Tell us, you said you just got off the road. Who have you been working with over the last few months, or DJing for over the last few months?
I've been working with Ladarius. I also DJ at Banneker. I work with New Music Mondays too. So yeah, I'll be everywhere in Atlanta really.
That's why I met him at New Music Mondays, at night. Yeah, right. Coalition DJs. Yeah, good to see you, man. Yeah.
It's good to see you too, man.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Appreciate it. But if there's no other questions, I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time out on this wonderful Thursday afternoon for joining us here.
We got another question.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Oh yeah.
My question for you, you said that you didn't really carry crates. So what did you do when you started? It's like, I don't carry crates.
Okay. All right. So it's circa 2009, right? So I had records because I was a music lover collector. So when I was practicing, I did practice on these 1 or 2 crate of records that I had. However, when I started to DJ publicly, I crossed over into the digital world. So I had turntables, but I bought a Serato box, and I used Serato as when I started to DJ publicly.
Okay.
And that's why I never experienced the crate life, because it just didn't make sense. I was just like, why do that
right.
when I can just do the MP3s in Serato, you know? So
True.
yeah. So but I learned on purpose on vinyl though.
Okay.
Collipark, you're about to say something.
Here's my crate story. I DJ all the parties for my 2.5 years at Alabama A&M, and I stayed on the 4th floor of my dormitory with no elevator. So yeah, I had a lot of friends.
All praises due. Mhm.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I'm from Atlanta. My husband and I are both from Atlanta. So I want to say thank you, DJ Smurf.
Oh, thank you for the
Because
support.
I love the J team.
All right. Okay.
And DJ Lynn and you. So
Thank you.
that's
Thank
my
you.
comment.
All right.
Actually, I got a question too. This for both of y'all. What are y'all doing to like further? Cause I really like evolution, right? So like, what are y'all doing for the upcoming generation, like in DJing, like not only just inspiring like other DJs, but like what new ideas and tricks and like styles y'all are creating for the upcoming generation?
Well, you know, being an instructor, I'm always offering I'm always offering new upcoming DJs to teach. You know, that's why I got into being an instructor at Scratch Out Loud. And I also started posting on the Tickety Talks. Just doing different like turntablist tricks and doing different with steps now. You know, you can, which is absolutely awesome. I'm so glad that came about. Taking different songs and matching them up, acapellas, you know, mashing those up. So a mix between some in-person and online things, you know.
So honestly, right before COVID, we started a DJ program at a middle school where my sister-in-law is principal at, and we did that up until COVID. And honestly, since then, I haven't really been into that field as far as, you know, being in contact with young DJs like that, such as yourself. So. But I love to do whatever. Like if you needed anything from me, I'm open to, you know, to talk to you about that.
Wonderful, that's dope.
I got one more question, just one more question, because you know I gotta ask it. So right now, I feel like just like 2 hot records right now, Peaches and Eggplants and Put It on the Floor by Lotto. So over this for both of y'all. Well, I don't know if y'all know about the songs, right?
What was the first one? I know to Put It on the
Peaches
Floor.
and Eggplants and Put It on the Floor.
I know Put It on the Floor.
I know Put It on the Floor. Yeah. I
You don't know Peaches and Eggplants?
What's the name of it?
Peaches and Eggplants by Young Nudie and 21 Savage? No,
Nah.
No? Oh. Well, I was going to ask which one.
You making us show our age right now. I do know the lotto. You know what's funny?
Honey,
My 22-year-old son, no, for real, he tell me about records all the time. And if I hear him, I'll be like, yeah, I know that record. But if he trying to tell me the artist, I don't know a lot of them. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not going to disclose any ages, but I have children in my 20s as well.
Right.
So, like I said, I do know Put It on the, I don't know the first one though.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to ask which one you think is harder, but I guess by default, Put It on the Floor.
And I come from a different era of how we consume music. So me and my son, we argue all the time about records and which one is bigger, which one is this, which one is that. And it's funny you mentioned Lotto, because we had an argument about Lotto. And me, from a record man perspective, I was arguing that Big Energy was the record that popped her and crossed her over. So that, hands down, is her biggest record. And he might have said, Put It on the Floor, or some shit, something like that. And so that was an argument. So my thing is, if it's not mainstream to where it reaches beyond that core audience to where like I know it, she knows it, and that's why we know Put It on the Floor, because it crossed out of that. So that's why I wouldn't know the other record, because it ain't reached me yet.
All right, I got you.
Perfect, thank you. And then last question right here.
Acting brand new. No, I'm kidding. So I would like to ask, what's next? What in your DJ career have you not done that you aspire to do? Ra.
Hey, girl. I didn't even see you like that. Listen, I want to be like him when I grow up. Production is my next, adventure there. The thing is that I've always been, I was a band geek. I played instruments, and so production is just sort of just me returning back to my, back to what I was really, doing. So in the movie, it mentioned that I think it was Rob, I can't remember which one it was, but he was saying that it is a natural progression for DJs to, if they choose to do it, is to, make music, because we're listening to music all day long. We're counting beats, we're counting measures and seeing how things are matching and mashing up acapellas with different instrumentals. And so that's my personal next adventure there is production.
Musically, DJ wise, for me it's having fun. I'm back to where I started with it. So I'm just at a point in my career and in life to where I don't want to do nothing that I don't enjoy doing. So it's just like I take the opportunities as they come. I don't necessarily aspire to do this or that, the third, if it comes. And it's something I want to do. Like if somebody offered me a gang of money to go do an 18-year-old party, I'm gonna be like, nah, I'm good, because I don't even know the music that they want to hear. So you can't cut me a check for me to do that, because I'm not gonna have fun doing it. So really, I turn down a lot of stuff that where people come like, yo, we want you to do this, we want you to do that. How much is it paying? Blah blah blah. What I got to do again? Nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
And that's just where I am in life right now, for real.
So I got Victor. I want to thank Victor. So we're here. I want to thank Victor, Victor Simmons. He's the director, and he put the program together. If you give him a hand right here. He's got a question for us right here.
So my question is, I basically was a teenager in the 90s. As soon as the 90s hit, I was in my teens. So I come from the mixtape era. One, I want to know, how do you feel about the lack of that mixtape existing today, and how important it was back then? Because it was where you would hear like new artists. You didn't listen to the radio to hear the new record. And then the second question would be, specifically to you, Mr. Collipark, is how was the transition between being a mixtape DJ and then moving into production, and how did that process work for you, especially during that time? So like now it's like, get some software and make it happen, whereas now you're in the studio and doing all these things. So I'm just curious as to how the transition was for you as a DJ moving into production.
First of all, let me start with the mixtape. I hated when the mixtape turned into the album. And DJs started just talking over songs and stopped actually DJing. I hated that because it just took an element of it's just like the graffiti and all the breakdancing. It took that away from what helped us get here. So I feel like, it's so far gone now that it's just a thing of the past, like the